Hello again everyone, it's me, Matsmas. Now, many of you that watch my channel should be pretty aware of the A-10 Warthog and how absolutely incredible it is as an aircraft, but really, why is it incredible? You know, we talk about it all the time. It's an obsession with the military world. It's almost a meme in the fact that it is so good at what it does, and we love the A-10 and we think it should last for the rest of the time and throughout the generations to come, and it's that great aircraft that can do close air support, and we all know it as this massive machine that can fire this huge 30mm cannon. But why is it that we love it so much? Why is it that we are so fascinated and so obsessed with this aircraft? Rightly so. I personally can attest to saying that this aircraft does what it says and has supported me whilst on my own operational tour in Afghanistan. An incredible piece of military hardware, and I would like to discuss as to why the world-renowned A-10 has become such a prestigious aircraft and why we still to this day have this clear obsession and want for it in the Air Force. Now, every generation of American warriors gets their own iconic aircraft that it deserves, from the B-52 Stratofortress to the F-14A Tomcat. The service members and veterans who answered the call of duty after 9/11, though, are absolutely no exception to this, and the A-10 has supported pretty much most modern military combat situations for the United States military. But the Fairchild Republic A-10 Thunderbolt II is the workhorse of the United States Air Force close air support in the skies for decades, and lovingly nicknamed the Warthog by American troops. It's more than just a massive aircraft with a 30mm cannon with wings. It's a guardian, an angel so to speak, of the US and partner forces on the front line in the global war on terror and other incidences around the world. But you really can't take my word for it. There are specific reasons as to why it's so good and why it's been renowned in the way it is. The stories of the troops that have been saved time and time again by this aircraft and its pilots are enough proof to say why the Thunderbolt II will always be known as the legendary Warthog among American warfighters, and why for those downrange in its brrrt they trust. Now, let's just be quite clear that we all know that the gun that this thing carries, the 30mm rotary cannon, is one of its biggest key features that we all know of. The brrrt sound and the gun runs that it performs are absolutely outstanding. But it does have other key attributes that make it absolutely incredible as an aircraft. Those big old General Electric engines that can be pounded with ground fire and continue flying. It can fly with only half a wing, land with no gears, and perform close air support to the highest level. But it's the stories that really take upon why this thing is so good. Yes, the cannon is amazing. That GAU-8 Avenger is producing a huge amount of firepower for ground troops on the floor, but it's really the fact that it can do a lot more than that. It can stay on station for a long time. It can produce massive amounts of ordnance, whether it be Hellfires, bombs, or just the 30mm. So I think it's only fair to relate to this incredible aircraft with the stories that have actually been bound by its reputation. Cut off from their unit, unable to call air support from the F-A-18 Super Hornets, 6 Special Operations Marines found themselves surrounded by Taliban fighters in Afghanistan in the ruins of a dilapidated compound, until 2 A-10 pilots flew 300 miles to rain down a hail of lead over the span of a 4-hour mission, killing dozens of insurgents and earning the Distinguished Flying Cross with Valor. This is just one story of many that I think we should discuss today. Another, in the early days of 2003 in the invasion of Iraq, then Captain Gregory Thornton braved a sandstorm and an ever-increasing hailstorm of anti-aircraft fire to carve a path for the 3rd Infantry Division's 2nd Battalion's 69th Armoured Regiment over the Tigris River and towards Baghdad. Thornton took out 3 T-72 tanks, 6 armoured personnel carriers, and several utility vehicles, earning a Silver Star in the process. Captain Thornton over and over again manoeuvred his aircraft within 3,000 feet of enemy forces to bring his 30mm Gatling gun to bear. His Silver Star action is very impressive, and the fact that he got this citation goes to show the courageous and aggressive attack while under the withstanding fire in poor weather, along with his own superior flying skills, gave him the true attack pilot grit and allowed the task force and the armoured battalion to successfully accomplish their objective by linking up with coalition forces and completing the 360-degree encirclement of Baghdad. There was also another time where 2 A-10 Thunderbolt aircraft flew a target over Operation Desert Storm. On the second day of Operation Desert Storm's ground war in 1991, a pair of Warthogs deployed to deal with a column of Iraqi tanks moving south to engage coalition troops. In about 10 minutes, A-10s flown by Captain Eric Solmonson and Lieutenant John Marks dispatched 2 to 6 tanks with infrared AGM-65 Maverick missiles and another 2 with a legendary 30mm cannon. But rather than return to base, they both refueled, reloaded for 2 more sorties in a completely different target area, disabling an additional 15 Iraqi tanks while providing close air support for Marines deployed to rescue the pilots of 2 AVB-8 Harriers. A story that relates to my own British Armed Forces service was in 2007, where a group of British Royal Marines were pinned down in a raid that went very, very bad for a critical Taliban stronghold on the other side of the Helmand River in southern Afghanistan. They were stuck and pinned down by resilient insurgents that were giving early casualties in what should have been a quite simple operation, but the worst part came during the retreat. The British realised they had left a wounded Lance Corporal behind. But help was on the way. 2 American A-10 pilots hastily retasked to provide overwatch alongside a B-1 bomber, while the Royal Marines were literally strapped to the side of 2 Apache helicopters, would return across the river to snag the wounded Lance Corporal. Not only though did the A-10s unleash the usual firestorm, but they countermanded the B-1's initial bombing run, preventing the latter from accidentally bombing friendly positions due to the fog of war. Unfortunately though, when it comes to this aircraft being used so much and in effect, there are instances that happen that are not supposed to. There has been many friendly fire instances from the A-10 Thunderbolt. One in particular that I will relate to is one of the 190th Fighter Squadron with the Blues and Royals friendly fire incident in Iraq. This friendly fire incident was the incident which involved 2 United States Air Force Air National Guard 190th Fighter Squadron A-10s and vehicles from the UK's D Squadron, the Blues and Royals of the Household Cavalry, and took place in March 28, 2003 during the invasion of Iraq. Unfortunately, this incident happened where the 2 aircraft identified the vehicles below having a orange top to actually identify them as being friendly as rocket launchers. It did sadly lead to the unlawful killing of this soldier, and there was a lot of media scrutiny, especially from the UK. There was video evidence of this happening too, which just exemplified the problem. Of course, mistakes do happen, and this particular instance I'm not going to talk about too much today, but it does go to show that the aircraft is good at what it does, sometimes too good, especially when it comes to engaging, unfortunately, incidents that involve fratricide. In terms of training, there was an instance where an A-10 was coming in for landing during a routine training mission in July 2017. Captain Brett DeVries of the Michigan Air National Guard of the 107th Fighter Squadron, a massive cannon malfunction blew the canopy of his aircraft clean off. With 325 knot winds slamming into him, he found both his primary and backup radios inoperative and the front landing gear jammed, forcing him to attempt a very ballsy belly landing, from which he walked away without a scratch. And despite all of this, the aircraft was actually deemed repairable, which goes to the point that it's not just the gun that makes this aircraft so incredibly reliable at what it can do, it's the airframe itself. It's just designed as a beast, a structural masterpiece that can take a beating and keep going on for more. A lot of people do not like the Warthog. Some of the high-end officials of the United States Air Force want it gone, and many want it to stay. The reason for this is it costs a lot to keep flying, but this is not the real reason why we should get rid of this aircraft. There is no real reason to get rid of this aircraft. It does what it's meant to do. Is there a better feature of an aircraft being able to do what it can do out there? Potentially, but as I'm going to continue with these stories, I would safely say that the troops on the ground want it to continue flying forevermore. During Operation Desert Storm, then Captain Paul Johnson took an enemy missile directly to the right of the wing of his A-10, disabling one of the aircraft's hydraulic systems. Despite the damage, Johnson managed to land his Warthog safely, returning to the skies days later. Of course, this is also a testament to Johnson's legendary skills as a pilot. Just days earlier, Johnson had led a 6-hour search mission for a downed F-14 Tomcat pilot through and through these 3 aerial refuelings, 1 attack on a possible Scud missile site, and 3 hours going deeper into enemy territory than an A-10 had ever flown. And this is basically going to the point that this thing can just keep flying and staying on station over and over and over again, providing that angels on the shoulder mentality of the troops on the ground. It's great having a fast jet fly in, drop a ton of ordnance, then budge out, but this aircraft can stay low, give you visual support, give you visual aids, provide firepower on and on and on again, and stay on station, and that's something as a ground commander you're going to want to have. And unfortunately, we're investing so much money into these more high-tech aircraft, The A-10 doesn't need, all these gizmos and gadgets. It's got a lot of firepower that needs to put down on range, and it's able to do so quickly and scoot out of the location to prevent it being engaged from SAM, or anti-aircraft fire. That's not saying the A-10 doesn't have its weaknesses. Of course it does. It's an older aircraft, and its mentality of close air support is changing. We're looking at the F-35 now, and a video I will be doing on in the future with the F-35 involved with CAS. But guys, it's world-renowned, and it has this obsession from everybody in the military world because it's just so damn good at what it does. It's not just because it makes a really cool sound when it shoots, and that has a 30mm rotary Gatling gun underneath it. It's the fact that it has testament to people who have served with it on the ground. The troops on the ground know that it does what it does because they can say, yeah, actually, that thing has actually done what it says it's supposed to do. It provided me support, it's destroyed the enemy, and kept flying and coming for more. It literally asks for more. It gets hit, it lands, it gets repaired, and off it goes again. An incredible testament to such amazing military aircraft that I think we're going to see provide us support for quite a long time more. Now, if you want to see more videos of me talking about this aircraft, you can go check out my channel. I have done a video on why the A-10 is going to continue its service throughout history forevermore. I don't think it's going to stay forever. I'm sure we're going to get an updated aircraft. But it is nice to know that there's many troops, soldiers, and airmen out there that want it to stay in service. I am one of those people for sure. I want it to stay in service. Yes, it's costly. Yes, it's causing a lot of maintenance costs, but listen to those stories and listen to the testaments of those who have seen it do what it does, and you tell me if it should be out of service yet. I would have to disagree. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you love the A-10, tell me why you love it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your stories. Everybody loves the A-10 with that big cannon, the brrr noise. I do myself too. But I'd love to hear if there's anything more technical or maybe more personable that you could tell me about in the comment section below. Maybe it saved your life. Maybe it's protected your own families or, loved ones, or you flew it. I mean, I'd love to hear from you if you're a pilot of it, or you maintain it, or wherever else. Let me know in the comment section below. If you want to be notified of any upcoming videos, please hit that little bell button by the subscribe button so you can be notified of new videos coming out. If you want to support my channel, go check out my Patreon account. It is in the description box below. Just go check out the link, and thank you to everyone who has been supporting me on that website so far. Your donations really mean a lot and help support this channel go forward. If you want to come hang out, play video games, or just talk to me, come check out my Discord channel. It's a chat room based server, website. You can come on and just talk to me. And I do have Facebook on the description box also. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you for the next one. All the best. Bye-bye.